So at this point, what are the challenges ahead in terms of rescue operations? We are, of course, hoping for some good news. We know that some people have been admitted to the hospital with serious burn injuries as of now. Can you tell us about the challenges that the rescue ops are facing at this point?
You know, it is very difficult to reach this terrain, this place particularly, Although the Air Force chief has already is rushing to that place, our army officer have already reached there, and the team is very actively, trying to diffuse the fire. But further aid and many other things, we don't know how far it is from hospital, how much time it is taking to hospital, or how much time it is taking for the advanced team, further teams to reach over there. So all these things will take some time, I think in a couple of hours we'll get to know the details of all these things, how many people are there, if there is any casualty. I believe there are some casualties also. Secondly, it is, if you look at the photographs, if you see the clips, the helicopter is virtually burning.
Right.
And some of the bodies were virtually charred, difficult to identify, even people. So it is a tough job they'll have to perform.
Right.
And anyway, the good news is that the CDS has reached hospital. He is there in the hospital under treatment, but we don't know how serious is the injuries.
Right. Just one of my final questions for you, sir. The IAF Mi-17 V5 helicopter, can you tell us a little bit, especially to our viewers, how is it used? What are its primary purposes? We hear it's used for VVIP movement.
VVIP movement, transport, logistics, used in logistics also. And it's a very sturdy helicopter and have been in use for many years by the Indian Air Force. One of the best pilots, supposed to carry these helicopters. So, I mean, as such, there is no, I believe, it was visibility, it was weather that was responsible for this crash, as far as the crash is concerned, I don't speculate more than that, because they must have been checked thoroughly, and they must have seen the airworthiness before taking off this helicopter, because very important persons were going to take this helicopter. So visibility, at the moment, I could only think of visibility, and the terrain was responsible for the crash, and weather was main factor.
Absolutely, sir. As you rightfully, yeah. Please go on. Yes.
But the problem, why he was allowed to take, when the visibility was bad, or suddenly, the weather has changed. So all these things, are important. They should know, the detail. Weather department and other would be involved, in these investigations. And detail will come out. I think in a couple of hours we'll get to know a lot.
Absolutely, sir. As you rightfully pointed out, that speculation is not advisable at this point, and that's not something that we want to do either. Just since you mentioned the way forward, just apprising our viewers about the same, this investigation or inquiry that has been launched, that the Indian Air Force announced earlier through a tweet, what will it entail and what can we expect from that?
First of all, the most important thing, they'll find out the place, the terrain, and why it has met with an accident or crash. Very initial reports will come up. The detailed things will come up once they find out the black box, because the details are there in black box. They must be looking for it now, and will take quite a few days to decipher the black box. Only then we'll get to know the real factors, But as far as weather and visibility and other factors, would get to know very soon. They must have already found out all these things. So they will announce soon, the preliminary reports they will give. Then another report will come after a couple of days, and then final investigation will begin, and will take some time to come out with the reports.
Right. Two words that you mentioned, weather, visibility and terrain. These have also been terms that have been pointed out earlier by experts. There's a lot of conflicting information about the weather. Some people are saying that it was sunny and perfectly good conditions. Some people are saying that there's poor visibility. So while we don't want to speculate at this point, what can be said about weather and terrain posing challenges in landing of the chopper or even rescue operations that are underway?
You see, at the time of when it took off, I think at that time maybe it was sunny, but sudden change in weather cannot be ruled out. And because the weather was disturbed throughout the southern India, especially pressure was there on southern part of the Indian terrain, so that was there in earlier, even weather forecast by the some of the foreign channels were mentioning, rains and particularly rains and depression over this region. Not particularly this region, but nearby this region, particularly in Andhra Pradesh, it was mentioned. So sudden change of wind direction could have been, brought major changes in weather condition. That could be possible, I don't know. I'm still waiting for reports to come out. That possibility is there, the sudden change. But weather department should have informed this sort of, because they know it. If the changes are going to take place, say next couple of hours or 3 hours or whatever,
Absolutely, sir. Qamar Agha, a defense expert from Delhi, thank you so much for all those inputs and thank you for joining us on WION at this hour. We, of course, will be tracking this story closely on WION World is One. WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.